guys don't mind if I take a picture. Okay. Nice. All right. Hello, my name is Skylar Wright, and this is my cyber pilgrimage. How old were you when you got your first cell phone? I was 12 when I got my first cell phone, and my youngest sister was 9. My parents were in their early 30s. At the age of 9, my little sister had more modern technology in her pocket than Neil Armstrong did when he went to the moon. In 2014, you don't have to be particularly good with technology to have the entire world in the palm of your hand. I'm no computer genius, but when I was 4 when Facebook came out, so I've never really lived without high-speed internet. In 2014, if you're wondering why your kids aren't talking to you, it's because we're all silently and simultaneously communicating with every person we've ever known in our lives in our phones. We're telepathic, and you're not. At this point, we should realize that social norms are never going to catch up to the way that technology is developing, but I hope that we can establish some kind of guidelines that everyone can follow because we're all telepathic people now. By the time most of you adults were exposed to the internet, you had fully developed social skills. Well, they were as developed as they were going to get. Where my generation, before we even have the opportunity to learn those social skills, we're exposed to all of the uncensored information in the world, and it's rarely ever put into context, and there just isn't enough time to filter through all of that. When I was 13, a very close friend of mine sent a lot of really inappropriate messages about me to pretty much everyone she knew. And she never realized the harm that she did to me because the adults handling the situation didn't think it was a physical matter. Well, the situation became so inappropriate for me that I eventually had to move. So there were physical repercussions that I had to face. What they didn't understand was that when the internet's involved in an argument, instead of having 2 people in conflict, you have an entire community in conflict. And that was something that my parents could not protect me from. Now, I'm a 16-year-old, so I can say that I've developed my social skills through social media websites, and it's difficult for socially inexperienced people to be noble in a lawless world like the online world that doesn't have any behavioral rules. We're all cyber pilgrims in this newfound territory, and until the government establishes some kind of cyber constitution, this is who we are now. Now, I'm not saying don't use cell phones or the internet because it's socially crippling when you don't use them. All of the most defining parts of who we are exist to us intangibly in these plastic things. All of the voices of my friends and family members exist to me in this piece of plastic. We can't detach ourselves from the valid human connections we've made through them. That's why people cringe when they drop their cell phones. It scares me to think that we've detached ourselves from the physicality of the lives that we live every day. What happens in a few hundred years when these things don't work anymore? Our music, our literature, all of those things exist in here. And when these things don't work anymore, what will be left of us? How will the futuristic archaeologists know who we were or what we fought for? So, here's what I'm asking you today. As adults, whether you have children or not, remind the younger people in your life about healthy verbal communication because it's something that I think we're growing up without. We are constantly commenting negatively on the physical appearances of others. We constantly question the intelligence of people we've never met. I feel like we're forgetting the physical and psychological consequences of verbal abuse because you can't see someone cry through a computer screen. There are no safe spaces in this type of world anymore because you take the danger home with you in your pocket. I want you all to think about the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you in your lives. Now, what if I told you that moment was immortalized? It could be played over and over again. There's no outliving your mistakes. This is the reality that I've been exposed to from adolescence. On that note, my biological father sent me a friend request on Facebook 2 months ago. This is the same man who didn't bother to show up once to court for my custody battle. And he waited 15 years to try to be my Facebook friend. How weird is that? We're all living with the best and worst people of our lives right in our pocket. To the people of my generation who will see this through Facebook or YouTube, I'll remind you that the internet has not always been a safe place for me to be exposed to. Facebook is more like a public newspaper than a diary. The internet will never be childproof. Inside of these plastic Pandora's boxes, they hold all of the darkest parts of humanity, but there's still hope. I know that I'm going to make sure the internet is a safe place for my younger sister to be exposed to. We need to talk openly about online culture in a way that our parents won't understand because this is who we are now. My generation redefines entire cultures and belief systems faster than ever before because we literally have all of the minds of the modern world at the tips of our fingers. Thank you.